we are going live.
Yes, I have pressed the live button.
Good evening, one and all, to the panel discussion on Union Budget 2022, organized by Trivandrum Chapter of Cost Economics. Today we have with us CMH Padmanabhan, our most beloved council member, CA Dr. Abhishek Murli, sir, who is one of among our panelists, and our council member, Sri Ashish Tate, sir, who will be along with Abhishek Murli, sir, who will be enlightening us about the budget in a specific scenario, and we have with us our chairman TCCA, CMA Pramod Chandran, sir. So before we start, we shall start with our institute anthem.
असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युर्मामृतं गमय मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युर्मामृतं गमय असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युर्मामृतं गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति.
A very warm welcome to everyone to the panel discussion on Budget 22 organized by Trivandrum Chapter of Cost Economics. Just during the 1st February, our Honorable Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has presented her budget in the Parliament. This budget comes with a framework for our development in next 25 years with the new announcement like taxation of cryptocurrencies, which is a currency for tomorrow, and all new sector-specific incentives, which has been announced by our finance minister. Today we have, with this, I am officially entering into my duty to welcome all, and I am very much excited to welcome our most respected, beloved council member CMH Padmanabhan, sir, who is a team member of Trivandrum chapter and always being a guiding force to each and every activities of the Trivandrum chapter in the various sessions, and even a personal guide and mentor to us. We all from the Trivandrum chapter welcome you to the event, sir. Next, I would like to welcome we have the two eminent panelists with us, and at first I would like to welcome CMA Dr. Ashish P. Tate, our beloved council member, who is a dynamic leader and who has been a knowledge source to the various sessions organized by our institute, and especially the main speaker for the cost accounting series webinar organized by CAT committee under the leadership of CMH Padmanabhan. And our Ashish Tate sir will enlighten us on the macro analysis of the union budget in the current economic scenario. We welcome you, sir, to the events.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Next, I would like to welcome one of the young, vibrant professional, none other than Dr. CA Abhishek Murli, sir, who is the president of All India Taxpayers Association, who is a well-known resource person throughout the country, especially in the field of direct taxation. Today, Abhishek sir will enlighten us on the tax implication of the budget 22. We welcome you, sir, to the event. Next, I would like to welcome Chairman TCCA, CMA Pramod Chandra sir, who has been behind all the activities of the chapter in various platforms, including the various government level programs as well as for the PD programs, and even all of the career counseling. Under his chairmanship, Trivandrum chapter has achieved a lot of success over the last 2 years. We welcome you, sir, to the event.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next, I would like to welcome all the managing committee members of the chapter, all the members, all the students, and all the viewers who is attending this panel discussion on Union Budget 2022. And further, I would like to request that all the CMA members who are attending this program is requested to provide their membership number in the chat box together with their name so that we can proceed for the CEP hours validation. With this, I would like to welcome Chairman TCCA for his chairman address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Pranav. Good evening, respected our own Central Council members, Sri Padmanabhan sir, Sri Ashish B. Tate sir, Sri Abhishek Murali sir. Good evening to all of you. Respected delegates to this video virtual meeting, members of our chapter and students, a warm good evening to all of you. This year's budget has been presented by our Honorable Finance Minister on 1st February, and we are still making clarifications on the points there in the budget. And today we are have with us CMA Ashish B. Tate, CA and CMA Abhishek Murali sir, for enlightening us on the latest proposals of the budget. I don't want to elaborate much because very member must be waiting to hear from our enlightened speakers. So with this, I am ending my short speech. Thank you. Over to you, Pranav.
Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to welcome our most beloved council member, CMH Padmanabhan sir, to graciously inaugurate this wonderful event. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Pranav Bhai. So nice of you, respected Honorable Chairman of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, Trivandrum chapter under Southern India Regional Council, Pramod Chandran sir. Our Honorable Treasurer, Pranav Bhai, very dynamic. And today we have two youngsters. I should tell my younger brothers, that is Dr. Ashish Bhai and Abhishek Bhai, both are there. And in fact, they are already known to everyone being a part of various Webint and other important programs, as told by Pranav Bhai. And recently we had our institute at a global level also presentation by Abhishek Bhai on budget. And Ashish Bhai was on behalf of the institute in Mumbai had presented this thing. This thing he has aired with some PhD chambers and other important taxpayers association. And Abhishek Bhai being a triplet and a CIMA and finding time to be the president of All India Tax Association is a great achievement at this young age. And Ashish Bhai, I personally thank you because I know that you had a session today morning also, in the afternoon also. This is the third one today, and tomorrow there is a very important function at his home. But still, when the Trivandrum chapter Pranav Bhai called, immediately, because I was there in the conference call, I know, immediately he agreed and told that, okay, Saturday 6:30, I am very much available. So many thanks to Ashish Bhai for the same. And Abhishek Bhai, I have already listened to you, and I have told that we as a taxpayers want to know how much more and more we can save, because we are seeing in various places that up to 15 lakhs we can save this, that and all. Only thing is we have to be very careful that we respect the IT authorities. And the thing, I have a feeling that income, that is a salaried class or other people need not pay such type of income tax. Had I been very close to Modi Bhai or Nirmala Sitharaman madam, I would have requested to abolish this totally, because already to purchase 100 this thing worth any product. Any citizen for that matter have to have minimum 118 rupees or 125 bucks the GST or whatever tax this thing. So we have to earn more to get something. Here salaried class are people who are bound to pay tax. We are paying tax. At the same time, we are also paying like any other common man, those who are not eligible to or don't require to pay income tax. We are in the same category. Anyway, let us see now that this thing has happened. And hearty congratulations to Nirmala Sitharaman madam that for the 4th time she has successfully presented the budget for us at Government of India. This thing. So wishing the function all the best. Thanks to Pramod Chandran sir and Pranav Bhai for immediately arranging such a wonderful session. That too with the 2 doctors. Dr. Ashish Bhai, Dr. Abhishek, both are doctors, maybe doctorate in some other thing. But we as a taxpayers also want some doctors with us who can give some tips as to how to save as well as on time pay the tax as a responsible citizen of the country. So thank you very much Ashish Bhai, thank you very much Abhishek Bhai, and thanks to the entire managing committee members of the chapters. And I am very happy to share with you that with me, by chance, today our Thrissur chapter chairman Praveen Kumar sir, vice chairman our Anup sir, they are also listening and sitting with me here in the institute. And we are going to be 3 attendees from our side listening the Honorable Resource Person Dr. Ashish Bhai and Abhishek Bhai. And I think, Abhishek Bhai, if you permit, let us first listen to Dr. Ashish Thatte Bhai, because he has come with our request and he has to take care of that important function that is at his home front. So I request the organizers, Pranav Bhai, to first request Ashish Bhai and then go with our Abhishek sir. Over to you, Pranav Bhai. Thank you. Wish you all the best. Everybody, please stay safe. എല്ലാവരും പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ സൂക്ഷിക്കുക. ഈ ഒരു ഫെബ്രുവരി 15 അല്ലെങ്കിൽ 20 ആകുമ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് ഒമിക്രോൺ ഇതെല്ലാം നന്നായിട്ട് കുറയും, എല്ലാവരും നന്നായി വരും. ഇപ്പം ഗവൺമെന്റ് പറയുന്ന കാര്യങ്ങളും മറ്റേ മിനിമം റിക്വയർഡ് ഹെൽത്ത് അതോറിറ്റീസ് വാട്ട് എവർ ദേ ആർ ടെല്ലിംഗ്, ഇഫ് വി ക്യാൻ അബൈഡ് we can have more good morning, more happy new year, more Diwali and more Onam or whatever it is. So we pray for your good health and happiness also. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Over to Pranav Bhai.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to invite our eminent speaker, CMA Dr. Ashish P. Thatte sir, to enlighten us on his macro analysis of the union budget with respect to the current economic situation. Over to you, sir. We are on live.
Thank you so much, sir. First of all, I would like to thank CMA Pramod Chandran PG, chairman of the chapter, and also my friend, the treasurer, Pranav Jayan, secretary of Trivandrum chapter. I had very fond memories of Trivandrum chapter. I remember that I had been to Trivandrum 2019, I guess, and maybe just before our national convention at Pune, I still remember that I had been to Trivandrum. From there, myself and Papan Bhai traveled to Pune for a national convention. So, I mean, so when I got a call from chapter as well as Papan Bhai saying that yes, you should take the session, I can't say no. So, I mean, it is my moral duty that when you are asking me today as a Central Council member, it is, if you are asking me, it's my honor that I should, give it. So thanks to both chapter representatives, all other managing committee members, also those who are attending session today. So thank you so much to chapter for giving me this opportunity. And the person to whom I always thank right from my regional council days is Padmanabhan sir, popularly known as Papan Bhai in the cost accounting world. So thank you so much, Papan Bhai, for giving me this opportunity, for this session on the macro indicators in the economics and how it is related with the budget. And it is my privilege today to share a dais, though digitally, but with Dr. Abhishek Murli, to whom if I have to see somebody, a youngster who is coming up in future, I see at Abhishek. I see him that I first congratulate him for being a father just few days back. So congratulations to you and Mrs. Abhishek Murli also. So very good. Congratulations to both of you. Also to your, I mean the baby's grandparents also. Your baby's grandparents are, grandfather is our council colleague. So excellent. So that is good. And congratulations to you. So my, humble privilege to have the sharing dais with Abhishek also. So though, even though digitally, virtually, whatever, but it's really good. So just before start of this session, Papan Bhai was saying something in Malayalam. I could not understand. I could understand only after that when he decoded that and saying that, happy Onam, or if you want to celebrate Onam in future, Happy New Year in future, then today you have to take some care about the Omicron and all other COVID related diseases. So the budget is also like that. Just like what Papan Bhai stated earlier, in Malayalam, I could not understand, or Tamil, I don't know even which language he spoke. I guess he must have spoken Malayalam. So budget is also like that, though Nirmala Sitharaman madam spoke in English, but then as a even finance professional or even as any general person, if you see, it is always difficult to decode that budget, because whatever the budget is being prepared, it is not a just a small process of 1 hour session or 1.5 hour speech, budget speech, which madam gave, about 1.5 hour speech which she gave on the budget day. So you need to decode that, and you need to understand that what is the government's policy, what government wants to do. I mean, if you go to a normal definition of a budget, also the budget says that all the policies or your vision, mission, objectives which you want to achieve in the longer term has to reflect in your budget, that may be of the 1 year also. So what we are going to do is we are going to find out some macro economic indicators of this budget. I mean, we will see some indicators, what is been we have gone through, what we have seen, and how it has been converted into budget, or what are all aspects of this budget which has relation with the macroeconomic indicators which are there. So having said this, let me share my presentation.
Pranav Bhai, Ashish sir would like to share.
No, one sec. He's not here. I will do it. Yeah, you can see it now.
Yes.
Okay. So,
1 second, I will make both
yeah,
you and slide live. Please go ahead. Now both is.
So see, what we are going to do is we will see some of the indicators in this economic survey. We will analyze those indicators. I mean, I know we are short of time, but still we'll try to analyze those indicators, and then we will see what is the the idea of this budget, or what are all things which are given in this budget as compared to the macro analysis which we are going to do. So let's go slide by slide. Yeah. So if I say that, what is the, how economy has gone, or how economy has been progressed all these days. One of the very important part of the budget is the economic survey. So a day before budget, the economic survey is being presented to before the parliament. And during that whole day of 31st of January, we spend whole day in analyzing this economic survey, that what is being given in this economic survey. And then we try to predict what will be there in tomorrow's budget. I mean, if you give me 10 days, 20 days, or even 30 days to predict what is there in the budget after this economic survey is released, nobody will be in a position to predict what is there in the budget. So, but this economic survey, according to me, is more important than even budget, because budget is reflecting the ideas or policies of the government, whereas economic survey is the truth, that is the reality. So what we have to do is we have to understand what are all parameters of the macroeconomics, and I mean, where are we heading for? So if you just go to the first line itself, it says that the index of industrial production is growing at 17.4% during April to November, whereas 15.3% reduction in the last year. So I mean, I did not tell you why there was reduction 15.3% last year and why there is 17.4% increase this year. So when I say that IIP's growth at 17.4%, that means government can always say that, yes, very much our policies are towards the manufacturing, so or towards the industrial production as such. So I think this is the time where we should give more support to industries, more support to the production, so that the consumption will increase, so on and so forth. So that is where the first point itself comes to my mind, that there will be a lot of things for the MSMEs, there will be a lot of things for the production, that is, and the manufacturing also, because IIP has grown with the 17.4%. So there has all government wants to do that because it provides employment, it provides a lot of power to the people for purchasing power, and so on and so forth. So that helps the government, that helps the economy. So if I go to a second point, a simple point which is very critical, all-time high net profit to sales ratio of large corporates, 10.6% in Q2 of 21-22. So if I just look at this point in a single sense or a single way as such, so what I understand is profits are good, companies are doing good. So when the big corporates are doing good, I have every reason to believe that even the MSMEs or the corporates who are employing people or to whom they are purchasing, procuring as such, so these people are also doing good. But there is a little bit of a different side also to that. When I say that the companies are earning more net profit, then the question is, that means they are not spending, they are earning profit and they are keeping it with themselves. They are not spending, they are not giving it away, or maybe they are not investing, or whatever way you call it as such, but that profit is still lying with them. So the moment you see this number, the moment you see this kind of a comment, I get a little bit on the backseat. I say that, yes, fine, this is the time where I should be giving, as a government, I should be giving a conducive environment to my corporates, that whatever profit they have earned, which they have not invested anywhere, I should give them a support. My policy should be framed in such a manner that these corporates will feel that all this money, all the net profit which they have earned should be invested back. So next year, maybe their net profits are less, but there are more investments which they should show. So those kind of things always comes to your mind the moment you see these macroeconomic indicators. So if I even go ahead, of course, I'll not cover all, but still, capital expenditure of railways budgeted to increase 5 times over 2014 level to 2.15 lakh crores. So of course, I need not tell you that why there is 2014, but 2.15 lakh crores, which is budgeted to increase 5 times. So that is also one of the very good sign that railways, which has been used by the common person, by the common people all across the country, government is investing into that. So if you go to budget, there are a lot of schemes which has been declared for the railways. Also nowadays, we don't have separate railway budget. But one interesting fact I'll tell you about Indian Railways. At any point in time, of course, before Corona, I'm not talking about after Corona. At any point in time, number of people, those who are sitting in the railway, Indian Railway, at a peak, any given day, you take up, highest number of people, those who are sitting in a railway or traveling by railway across the country is more than 2 crores. And if I'm not mistaken, 2 crores is not even the population of Australia or New Zealand or so many other countries. So our whole population sitting in the railways itself is a population of so many, more than the population of so many countries all across the world. So, I mean, this is how we have to look at how robust our economy is. how difficult it is for any government to control this economy or give services to people, maybe poor, richer, whoever are there. So it is very difficult for them to give those services to them. So railways is one of the important aspects of the budget which has been made, because we don't have separate railways now. If I go to the next point, that is PLI introduced to scale up the industries. We all know that, we cost accountants, we all know that this is production links incentive schemes has been brought by the government, and so many industries, as far as my memory goes, pharmaceutical is already into the PLI, the disbursement has already begun. The data has already started flowing in. Automobile has just finished the PLI scheme application status, as textile is just on the way. The last date is, I guess, not yet over also. So this is the way government is giving money to industries. They have given certain guidelines to the industries that if you are falling under those conditions, you are eligible to get the production linked incentives. So you can definitely, I mean, from the government point of view, when I look at this, this is the amount which goes to the industry. So as a macroeconomic factor, this amount which goes to the companies, it is expected that they will bring new technologies, they will bring new products. Like, for example, automobile is very, very categorically for the EVs. The government is very clear that over a few years, they just want to go away with the petrol and diesel and CNG kind of vehicles. They just want to go for the electric vehicles. So all the PLI schemes of automobile or auto component is related to EVs. I will not be surprised that, seriously, of course, government may be thinking that 10 years down the line, all EVs will be there. But I will not be surprised that most of the EVs, I mean, the portion of EVs in automobile sector will be more than the portion of any other non-EV vehicles as such in the country, in automobile industry of this country, maybe 10 years or maximum 12 to 15 years down the line, not beyond that. So 15 years is my maximum prediction that more than 50% vehicles will be on EV. But why this is happening? Because government is supporting the supporting that industry as an automobile industry as a macroeconomic measure, as an indicator that yes, once you go for the EV, we can definitely reduce our the carbon emission and everything is there, but still our import of the crude oil is very high, very huge. Government has very much a thought process that we want to reduce the import of crude oil, and our countrymen should use EVs as such for future. Major boost provided to the physical as well as digital infrastructure. We have not counted, but Nirmala madam has used almost 15 times a word called digital in her budget speech. So it shows that where government wants to take you. They want you to do everything digital. They want you to put more emphasis on the digital things. I mean, whatever is the non-virtual things we were doing or physical things we were doing, government want us to do those things digital now. So let us see how it takes up. So I mean, when I see this kind of economic survey, I am very clear that in the budget, these things will be given a lot of encouragement, or a lot of monetary allotments will be given to these things. New schemes are likely to come for this. So as we also have the economic survey, you can see that our industrial growth is 11.8%. So gross value added economic survey GVA is there. Next important point is of the inflation. Every government, this government, that government, future government, everyone is worried about how much is the inflation, because ultimately, what our country wants, looking at the exposure of our country, looking at the demography of our country, there will be a difference between poor and rich, which is going to remain for next few years. Of course, due to Corona, it has increased. That is all economic aspects of that. But still, all the governments all across 50 years, 75 years, what we are looking for, seeing for. So all of us has been concentrating on the reduction in this inflation. So whether it is consumer price index, or whether it is wholesale price index, or whether it is food inflation, every government is very much, towards that the inflation should remain under control. It cannot be reduced or cannot be negative one point in time, but still it should remain under control. And of course, if you ask me as an economist, from the economic point of view, if there is more inflation, I always say that there is more money flow in the system, money flow in the economy of this country. So that means there are more opportunities for you also to grab. And with the higher inflation, if it is a reverse situation, then it's a difficult. If inflation is due to some or other reason, which is not the economical reason as such, or reason which is of the economics as such, then it is very difficult to tackle that inflation. But then if it is genuine inflation, which is out of the economic reasons which has come up, still that is okay, because there is a lot of money flow in the economy. There are a lot of exchanges of the I will say exchanges of the exchanges of your rupee, exchanges of your currency is happening. It is changing hands frequently. That is why there is inflation, and that means it's a good opportunity for all the individuals to cash on that exchange of currency as such, exchange of hands by the money. So you can definitely put your whatever efforts on that and still try to earn out of those exchanges. So but this government is always right from 2014, as what mentioned by Honorable FM Madam also in the press conference after the budget, that she's been stating again and again that the inflation rate, we have kept it under control below 10% every time right from 2014. Maybe prior to that it was bit more than 10% some of the times also, as we all know, difficult situations were there previously. So when I go through this indicators of economic survey, I mean, this gives me a lot of understanding that what is going to happen in budget. Of course, these are only just guesses, nothing else. If I go through, the bank credit, which was increased to 5.3% in April 21 to 9.2% in December 21. So my supply side, that is money supply side, is also good. So my banks are in good, healthy condition. They are giving credits to the needy person. It has been increasing, and still, despite of it is increasing, my NPAs are still under control. I mean, still I can see that it is very much under control for the country as a whole. So I mean, with this, if you see even those numbers which are on your screen, about 89,000 crore was raised via 75 IPO issues. So it also shows that my economy has the money. If you remember, I told you earlier that the net profits which has been kept by the company, higher net profits to sales ratio, it is very good. But then on the other side, it has to be reflected in the investments also, which has been reflecting here with 89,000 crore rupees coming into the 75 IPO. So there are a lot of new ideas which are coming up. IPO means what? These are budding companies are doing good. Now they want to raise the public money. They have ideas. They have resources. Now they want money also to invest that into their ideas and ensuring that it gives returns to the companies and their shareholders. So that is a good sign as an economic survey when we go through that. So economic survey points to the need for the standardized frameworks for the cross-border insolvency, for increased access, recognition, cooperation, coordination. So with this economic survey, we have come up with that point also, that the cross-border insolvency regime also has to be there. We have to be looking at that also. And FM Madam mentioned also on in her budget that we are looking forward for changes in IBC very soon. But of course, that was not part of any budgetary allocation as such. So but still, she is of the opinion that we need to change the IBC as out of the economic survey. And there are so many other indicators of economic survey which are very important, which we should go through. I will take you to very important aspect of this. 44 Indian startups achieved the unicorn status in 2021, taking tally to 83. So out of this, I mean, when you see those startups which goes into a certain status of unicorn, 100 billion as I mean the billion as the their valuation as such. So out of those startups, so I mean that is also a very good sign for the Indian economy, that youngsters are coming up with the ideas. They are investing money. There are investors who are showing confidence in our youngsters to invest money on them, on their ideas. And it is not just they are investing into ideas, but those ideas are successful also. And when their valuation is coming out, their valuation is also very good. I'm very proud to say also that even though I stay in Mumbai and Maharashtra, I'm proud to say you that most of this, almost 25% of these unicorns are registered with Maharashtra. They are there in Maharashtra. And that shows why Mumbai is a capital of the financial capital of this country. We were expecting some good, something for Mumbai also, which is the financial capital of country. But still, we are still awaiting. We understand that this is not the year where we as a middle class, we as a Mumbai or we as a Kerala or whatever it is, we should demand something from government. The time hasn't come yet, because yes, we have a bit of the difficulties after Corona. Last 2 years, we are almost halted. Yes, 1 year we are definitely halted. Last year, bit of the improvement, but still government is struggling. I still remember that Nirmala Madam has stated in the press conference that the countrymen should be happy, the middle class should be happy that despite of so much of Corona, reduction in the economy and reduction in so many activities as such, still there is no extra tax on any one of you. So that is what is the good achievement which we have as a countryman, as a country as such. So fiscal deficit is also coming under control. So let's hope that whatever is budget estimates of 6.8% for this year, we are yet to finish 2021-22. So it remains under 6.8 level as such. Then we have good forex reserves as well. So that also helps the give confidence to the government that whatever steps they are taking, those steps are important for them, and those steps those steps are towards ensuring that this forex also increases in that way. So good position of balance of payments, forex reserve, then new startups in India. That is what the point. If you see this diagram very carefully, there are some red dots which you will see. Some red dots in Rajasthan, good amount of red dots in Maharashtra, some good in Gujarat also. So there are few in Kerala also, which I could see. I have not seen that carefully in Kerala, but then that means Karnataka, Kerala. So all we have some good red dots which are there. So about 200, these are number of new startups. So the youth of this country is thinking of coming with the new startups, and it is a very good sign for the country as a whole, because when these new startups or these new ideas comes, somehow it is a duty of government to support them. So how government is supporting them in giving them concession in direct taxes and etc. That Abhishek will talk to. Out of 10 years span, 3 years are given the whole tax free like that. So what those nitty-gritties he will explain to you. But then when I see this kind of a picture that new startups are increasing in India, youngsters are coming, and it is my duty as a government to give them support. And these are the macroeconomic indicators which we should all look for. Though I know that we have a full-fledged finance department of the country who looks after finance ministry, who looks after everything. But as a countryman also, it is important for us that we should look after those indicators, because ultimately our livelihood is also can be changed because of that, or our investment pattern can be affected or influenced because of that. So these are all macroeconomic indicators which we should look for. Inflation we spoke about. This is also very critical, that is patents application process in India. Why government is putting it in economic survey, giving more thirst on that. See, what is ultimately patent? When I say a startup comes with the ideas. So those ideas needs to be somewhere patentized, that you should obtain a patent for that. Ultimately, your ideas cannot be taken away by someone else in some other country. We know we have faced those issues in the past with the patent also, with even the the Indian kind of a food and everything. We all know that story. So having said this, this is also a very good sign for Indian economy, which says that if you see number of patent applications, about 39,000, granted is 7,500 in 10-11, and when it comes to 2021, out of 58,000, 28,000 has been granted, and share of Indian residents is 41%. Of course, government is also very critical about its own process. They have put up that time taken for the final decision in months in 2020. If you see India is taking 42 months in 2020, whereas Russia is taking 4.1 months for the granting of the patent application. And of course, the number of applicants also are very less in India as compared to China, 5.3 lakhs, USA 3.52 lakhs, Japan 1.70 lakhs, and Korea 1.35 lakhs. So, but however, that means there is a scope for this kind of processes, or some support has to be given for this kind of processes by the government in budget. So having seen this macroeconomic indicators, as a part of economic survey, we should be able to understand that these are the things we should be able to get. So GDP growth is also predicted at 8 to 8.5% for 22-23 as a projected, and 9.2% is first advance estimates of 21-22. It may get reduced 9.2 once the 31st March is over. The numbers will come somewhere about May or June, where we will keep a note of that how much is our GDP growth. According to me, if you ask me, it may remain between 8.5 to 9. This is first advance estimates. It will not reach to 9.2 because it is always on the higher side, as what we know government makes this at the higher side, and don't know what will happen in another month, still month and a half to go. So yeah, I'm expecting that it should be between 8.5 to 9. On the higher side only, it will remain towards 9 only. So hope that we will continue with the same growth in future to 8 to 8.5 in 22-23. So this is what is the generally, the snapshot of the Indian economy during this specific year. I would like to give you, present you. Of course, these are the official government numbers which are published on various websites or the Twitter handles of the government of India. So you can go through that, those Twitter handles also. So with this background of the various economic indicators or the macroeconomics indicators which are reflected in economic survey, on this background, the budget starts. So if you see even the, of course, these numbers flowing to the Ministry of Finance from CSO, Central Statistical Organization, every now and then. So they are very much fully aware throughout the year. Every month we have a robust process of giving those numbers all across. If you go to RBI website or CSO website, all these numbers you will find it or updated every time. I mean, we as a finance professional not pay much attention to that, but economists, those who are very much interested to see what is happening in the country on the part of economics, they put a lot of eyes and a lot of the control, a lot of data has been taken from those websites and their reports as such. So with this background, now we have to prepare a budget. Now we have to think what is there in the budget. Of course, all these economic indicators, not exactly, that all depends upon the policy of the government. Ultimately, even though these are economic indicators, but what government wants to do can be different from what is there in economic indicators. So it is not necessary that every time these economic indicators, and government always try to put some or other budget allocation to this economic indicators or towards these economic indicators, and then ensuring that we improve on those economic indicators. So it is all government policies which are dependent on what government wants to do. But more or less all the governments all across the country, or even the all 75 years of the the history of our country, is very clear that these economic indicators, almost 90 to 95% has been taken care by the government, that they make the budget allocation, ensuring that we should improve on these economic indicators. Yes, there are some, very, very famous word of economics which says that the serendipity. So what is serendipity is ultimately this is a surprise. So government predicts everything, government budgets everything, but there are a lot of surprises which comes throughout the year. I mean, which includes all natural man-made calamities and everything is there. So these economic indicators are likely to be shaky. It is not that I spent this much of money on this factor and then this economic indicator will increase. So of course that is not going to happen. That's why this is a more or less of a social science. Economics is a social science, and that is why it is interesting. It is not a perfect science. It is not exact science. When you say whatever H2O, so H2 plus O is equal to water or whatever, it is not going to happen in economics. That's why it is a social science, and that is why it is quite interesting. So these economic indicators, macroeconomic indicators, are giving you ideas that what government wants to do. And having said this, Nirmala Sitharaman madam also has decided to go ahead with her budget, keeping this economic indicators, macroeconomic indicators in her mind. So today, I will give you a very different concept, since we are a small group of about 100 professionals sitting over here. So I'll give you a very different concept today. And, this concept is something which I have been promoting. I have been saying for the economy, for any economy for that matter. I have been seeing Indian economy for whatever last 10, 15 years very closely. I'm watching, keeping eye on various indicators of economy. So I'll give you this concept, which very, very critical if you, think from that point of view, that how we understand a economy from the normal person, or say I'm a finance professional, you all are finance professional. We know a little bit more about economics or economy as such than any other normal person. But the concept which I'm going to give you is very good even for the normal person to understand what is economy. So it starts with this, that you imagine that there is a big sponge in front of you. So it's a big wall of a sponge in front of you. Now, what happens with this sponge is, on the top of it, there are poor people. On the bottom of it, there are richer people. So so what happens with the richer people is, why they are rich? Because they have more water. So what sponge actually does, it holds the water, right? So when the sponge is been kept like this, say a wall of a sponge, so what is going to happen is the water is ultimately going to come down because of gravity. Water has to be collected, or it will get accumulated at the bottom of the sponge. Now, imagine that there is no government at all. So what is going to happen, that the richer people will always try to, because they are stronger people, they have their own network, their resources. Or rather, I will say that if you could insert some tubes of the richer people within that sponge also, you consider that every man, every person has 10, 20 tubes, which either sucks the water or which gives the water. So richer people have more tubes to suck the water or to collect the water. So since they are more powerful, they collect that water from the top, and that water comes down to the bottom of the sponge, and it gets collected with the richer people. Say, considering that there is no government. So what is the government's role in this? Sometimes even government is a part of that sponge. Government is a part of that whole system. So what is government's role in this? So what government is sitting outside the sponge, and they are like a, they also have the tubes. And what they are going to do with that tubes is, they will take the water from that sponge. They will process that water or whatever it is, and they will throw it back again to the sponge. And that is how the economy is working. That is how the economy keeps on going. So if you see the budget, if you think from my concept, my way of looking at the economy as such. So this budget is going to take up, as a government, what I'm going to do is, my tubes are going to collect the water, more water from rich people, and of course, less water from the poor people. That is what is expected a government has to do. And of course, if it is a different kind of a government, or there is no government, or there is, I will say that monopoly type of government, those kind of governments, they will try to ensure that they suck more water, they collect more water from the richer, and they try to put it on the poor. But then at that point in time, your rich people will leave the country. They will come out of the sponge. They will say that though we have capabilities, we are unable to earn the money. Let me go to some other economy and try to put my efforts over there. So government even can't do that. So government has to be very careful while they are collecting the water from the rich people. And as a machine, or as a pump which actually flows back the water, collects the water and throws back the water. So this budget, what is expected to do as a government machinery is to collect that water from various sources of sponge, and then flow it back to the various places on that sponge, the whole wall of sponge. Now, what is that wall of sponge? One is of the poor. At the top of it, we know all the problems that once the water goes to the top of the sponge with the poor people, my richer people or the stronger people, they have more capacity to collect that water from the poor people, and immediately that comes down to a richer people. So government also has to be very careful. Instead of just throwing that water to the at the top of the sponge, the wall of the sponge, they ensure that this money is not given directly, put up directly onto the sponge, but they will give it to such organization within that sponge that they will make my poor people, or those who are disabled or unable people, will make them strong. So that kind of a skill development or kind of a support to disabled person, Divyang person. So everything is been done in that fashion. So government is always thinking from that point of view, and my budget also goes from that point of view, that I'll collect money from there, collect water from there, and I'll throw with the help of a sponge to various places in that wall of a sponge, so that all the sectors of my economy on that wall will get that water. They will ensure that is their life, that is their blood. They will get it, they will process it, and they will increase their capacities to collect more water, or maybe to give that water back to someone else of that kind. So with this background, if you remember my concept which I have told you, if you remember this, I mean every budget, next budget, or next to next budget, etc. If you apply the principles which governments across the country are using for planning the budget or planning, etc. So this is what is generally their way of doing the budget as such. So having said this, with this idea that government wants to collect the money from richer, poor, or all sections of that wall sponge as such, and now they will give it back. So that is how the whole concept of economies, and that is how the whole concept of budget is. So what this time government wants to do, what Sitharaman madam has explained, that she has given 4 pillars or vision of Amrit Kal. So what government wants to do is, say, within next 25 years, they stated that they will do this kind of development. So this sponge which has collected, so there is a the perfect way, there is a I should say that there is a formula which has been set up for next 25 years, that if this much of money comes from the sponge, we will return back to this much. So this is what is the pace, or this is what is the speed which has been set up by this budget, as what explained by Nirmala Sitharaman madam. And then she has put up the 4 visions of Amrit Kal. One is PM Gati Shakti, wherein, as the word suggests in Hindi, Gati is what is the speed. So what is the speed is all related to the transportation of goods and people. So that is what is the Gati. So all investments which are going into the transportation by all the ways, by all the means which goes into the transportation will be put up in the Gati Shakti, that first vision or the first pillar of this budget. Second one is inclusive development. So I've told you that the my pump which returns back money or the water back to the sponge. So that is where the inclusive growth or inclusive development is being expected. So for all the poor people, government may not get any direct returns for that, but then it will be put up to ensure that my disabled people, Divyang people, or maybe less skilled persons will be having more skills, more support, more social angle is given for in this vision. Then we have productivity enhancement, enhancement and investment, sunrise opportunities, energy transition, and the climate action, because everything has been done. We are doing excellent, but still there are some sunrise industries wherein we need to invest. We ensure that we encourage people to invest into that. We also have to take care of the climate action. We also have to take care of the various productivity enhancement and investment like PLI schemes, which I told you. So, this is yet another way of giving back that water to my sponge, so that people will look after that, people will get that, companies will get that, and they will ensure to have the good production. They will increase their capabilities. And finally, it is a financing of investment, lot of services which government wants to give, support lot of institutions, lot of financing activities which are there that we will cover up. So everything has been put up together, and that's a 4th pillar, wherein those financing activities will also be supported by the government. So the process of collecting the water and process of throwing back the water. So once you want to throw back the water, 4 sections has been identified, and with this 4 sections, government wants to return back the water. There are certain announcements in the in this budget also, which are only in the nature of announcement. There are no budget allocations as such. It's there everywhere. All budgets, we know that. So government side by side with the budget allocation of amount, rupees, paisa, etc. But along with that, government also gives some policy announcement with the budget, because ultimately your budget is the reflection of what policies you follow. So government has to explain in every budget that these are our policies and this is the allocation, or maybe this is the policy. Today we are not making allocation, but in future policy will continue and we'll make allocation as and when needed. So those policies are also been discussed in the budget as such. So again, my concept, this is what is the 4 places where government wants to put the money as such. So they have they will put money at 100 places, but they have divided that into 4 sectors as such. So if we go with the first one amongst that is the PM Gati Shakti Yojana. So Gati, as what I told you, it's a speed. So all transportation of humans, people, as well as goods is included in Gati Shakti. And we all know that road, I think we have seen that in the economic survey also. Now 36 kilometers, 36 point something kilometer is the speed at which we are increasing highways every day. So if I have to build up the highway every day, I'm adding 36 kilometer of highway operational than yesterday. So this is a very good, initiative by the government. Government always thinks that when there is no demand for the products, then government can't spend on their own. As what I told you, they just can't give money to put up at the top of my sponge wall and say that you enjoy this money, because ultimately that money will come down to the richer. So what government is trying to do is they give you the projects. They say that this is my road project. So 30 kilometers per day is my total, pace at which I'm increasing. So once there are good roads, those who are having money, or maybe may not be even having money, they will think of having a car tomorrow. So if I don't have a money, I will try to take a loan from the bank and I'll ensure that I have a car, and then I go by car by that road, because 36 kilometers is getting increased day by day. So my facilities from commuting from one place to another place swiftly has increased. So that will increase my economy. So once I purchase that vehicle, and now in future, what government wants people to purchase e-vehicles, that is e-vehicles, EVs as such. So this is what is the government is trying to do, that they are investing into first Gati Shakti, and out of that Gati Shakti, the road transport or transportation is something which is important, road transportation. And then so many other things which are there. I'll not touch upon all that. You can go through the same. It's easy to understand also. But one thing definitely I would like to discuss over here, and that is the Parvatmala. When I heard that word from the Honorable FM, I got little bit, I was under the different concept that what government wants to do in Parvatmala. When I actually read it, I found that it is very interesting. That, we know traditional ways of transportation. So there is a sea transportation, road transportation, railway, air, all these ways we transport. Looking at our country, where we have so many hillsides or hill places as such, it is always difficult for any government to create a road, larger road. That too without affecting the climate. I will tell you our example in Bombay. We have something called as a Borivali National Park. So National Park is actually now divided into 2 parts. A road which goes between that national park, and then the animals which are on this side, if they want to go to that side, they actually used to die earlier. Now they have also restricted themselves only to one part where there is more food available. But then my point is, once I create that road within the hillside, from the hill, what is going to happen is there will be impact on climate. The natural habitat of so many animals will get affected. So what government is thinking is to have the transportation, at least of a people through when you are going through this hillside or the hilly places as such, is to have the ropeways, so that there will be this will be the yet another way in future. I will not be surprised that today I think 8 or 10 ropeways has been proposed, budgeted in this budget as such. But if this is successful, I will tell you that there will be a lot of ropeways in future, and that will be, we will prefer to have next generation, maybe 30 years down the line, 40 years down the line, next generation will prefer to go by ropeways. They will not go by, any other ways or whatever it is. They will prefer to go by ropeways rather than going by the roadways. So Government wants to improve that. Government wants to test that. There is some budget allocation also. So it's a very good, yet another concept of, the traveling by ropeways. We have been meeting Nitin Gadkari ji. We have been listening to him for quite a few number of times, transportation minister for our country. So he's been stressing on certain aspects as such that the humans can also be transported through a sea transport. If you come to our city of Mumbai, if you go to your cities where you have a sea transport is available, your cities also sea transport is available. So when you see this, people are, very few times we use the sea transport as such to commute from one place to another place. If you come to city like Mumbai, from the far western suburbs, if you have to go to a town side, there is no other alternative but to go by road or by railway. Railway is always crowded, road is also crowded, so you fall stuck into the traffic. But there is a sea also. So there is a railway, there is a road, and there is a sea also. We never used a sea as our transportation medium. So government wants to improve that also. So those transportation facilities are also part of the budget. If you go through the nitty-gritties of budget, you understand it is there. So, this is what is all about the Gati Shakti. Then we have inclusive development, as what I told you that, in my concept of a wall of a sponge, the pump has to give that money back on the top. That is what is my inclusive development is. And those who are weaker sections of society, weaker sections of my sponge who doesn't have the tubes to collect the water or collect the money for that example as such. So I want to ensure that they become capable. So that kind of a capacity building I want to improve in my countrymen as a part, so that in my budget allocation, those things are to be given over there. So one of the very important part of this inclusive government is, of course, we know agriculture. Our farmers are always in distress. They are dependent upon all the rains and everything. So those natural things, they are dependent and they suffer a lot of losses because of that. So they have been supported through this. Then we have MSMEs. Day before yesterday, one of the MP opposition leader has also told that government is not putting attention to MSMEs, but this budget has something or other for MSMEs also. And very much these MSMEs are the weaker sections wherein we need to ensure that this MSME survives. And if this MSME survives and improves in future, that is a backbone that gives a lot of employment to people. In my concept as such, it gives a lot of power through tubes to that people, that they can also earn the money, the water which has been thrown back into the whole one sponge or the economy, as whatever you call it. Education, health, Saksham Anganwadi. So one of the very important thing which has been declared in this budget is about the health, because last 2 years, as we all know, health is a very important issue. And we have seen what is happening in last 2 years. We have to pay a lot of attention to health, but nobody is talking about the mental health, which Government of India through its Ministry of Finance, FM Madam, has understood that yes, we need to work on our mental health also. It is not just the physical health which has been damaged in last 2 years, but it is the mental health which has also been damaged in last 2 years. And government has put up some telecalling or a center wherein people can call up and they can ask for the help for the improving their mental health. We all know last 2 years why our mental health has been disturbed. We are not free, we are not roaming, we are not going anywhere, stuck at home. So many problems which are there. People doesn't have jobs, they have lost their jobs, reduced their salaries and so on and so forth. So a lot of social problems which are there, and those mental health is also been deteriorated over a period of time. So we are also thinking of improving that, and people don't talk about it. They have a taboo that there is nothing like depression or something like that as a mental health. So government is very keen to ensure that people talk, so they become more powerful to ensure that with their tubes they earn more money out of it. So this is what is the idea of the government of making it. If you see Anganwadi is also a lot of people, poor students, poor people, especially children who has to go to Anganwadi, and ensuring that they get the meal over there, they get support from education also over there. So that is the way government is supporting the young children also. This a part of inclusive development for the government as a part of the budget. So budget allocations has been made to the Anganwadi also. So Anganwadi concept is very much there. So government wants to make some more category within that Anganwadi, saying that it is a Saksham Anganwadi. So it is more powerful Anganwadi, or weaker sections of the Anganwadi should be supported to make them a Saksham Anganwadi as such. Then productivity enhancement and investment, because we know all the budgets has focused on not only social parts of it, but also the industry which needs support. Not only the MSME, the small industries, but the bigger industries also needs a lot of support. So ease of doing business is going to come up. Then e-passport, the chip-based passport is going to come up. I do not know, I have no idea that how it will work. But then this project has started. So maybe another 2 years or 3 years, we actually take a time to get the chip-based password as passport as such. And I don't know how far the other countries do have. They must be having it. Advanced countries, I'm not very sure about it. But then in any case, in any one of you have it, you can just share your experience with us. What is the chip-based e-passport as such? Then we have urban development, clean and sustainable mobility, battery swapping policy. E-vehicles will come up, but then e-vehicles has more cost at the end of 8th year, 9th year, 10th year. When their battery is exhausted, you can't use that battery again. So at that point in time, we should have some battery swapping policy so that how we change the batteries, how to throw that batteries when it is been exhausted, how to change the batteries, because you can't wait every time to charge the battery and then wait and put it into if you're in the midway of the highways. If it gets exhausted, then what to do? So all these things will be taken care as a policy, not as a budget allocation. There will be some budget allocation in in the next years to come. Land record management. Today, if I have to sell my property, land, etc., I have to go to a specific place where the land is located. So find out registrar office nearby, and then register my property, sell my property, buy property over there. So government is having a future vision, maybe 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the line, that we need not go anywhere. I sit here, the buyer or seller sits somewhere else. We enter into some kind of agreement and then go log in, and then we make the sale agreement over there. So I mean, for that purpose, our land record should be very strong, very accurate, very perfect. So all these things has been taken care in the land record management, also IBC and accelerated corporate exit, which is also there in the government procurement. Government has been planning that, the procurement, they want every billing should be the online billing, and all RA bills should be paid within 10 days. 70% of RA bills should be paid within 10 days, so that money government should not hold. At least government PSUs should not hold that, but they return back that money with the 70% within 10 days, like that. So those government procurement are also taken care, that ensuring that my idea of water again comes back to the economy, or that sponge as such. Then Atmanirbhar in defense. Earlier research was very much as a defense research was very much into the defense people only. So I have to go to a defense colony, defense places, defense, etc., and then do research over there. Now government is open to have the research even outside the defense territory as such. You can have some research over here also, somewhere here also, and they want to have the participation of the private individuals also to come into the defense and do some research, and ensuring that this research we can further sell to other countries as well, and we earn money out of that. That may be the idea, maybe 10 years. 20 years down the line, but this is a very good step as such. As what I told you, sunrise opportunities, solar power transfer. Solar power is a very favorite subject of all the governments all across the countries as such. So government is giving a lot of discounts to purchases of those solar equipments as well, the solar power equipments related to that also. Then financing of investments, then we have public green bonds, everything is so that is also been proposed to have more of the green bonds. So government will raise money through those green bonds also. GIFT IFSC. So Gujarat is the international financial technology center. So this GIFT City also has been given a lot of support in this budget, saying that if you establish any university in the GIFT City, then foreign collaborations will come automatically. Government has given a lot of autonomy to those universities. If you set up your university at the GIFT City, then a lot of autonomy is given to decide your syllabus of the fintech or those related, finance or financial technologies related subjects as such, or courses as such. So that so they are welcoming people to come to GIFT City and ensuring that there are a lot of discounts which has been given to them. Then venture capital, the private equity investment we have seen. Startups, lot of support to the startups also by the government. And then digital rupee, last announcement which has been made of the digital rupee. I do not know that what is there in the mind of government, whether they want to take it as a cryptocurrency, as a digital rupee, or maybe as a Paytm or other kind of things. You know, Paytm also have a rupee. I mean, we pay by way of rupee in the Paytm to a person who is holding it. So there are no actual transactions which are I mean, there are no physical transactions which are taking place. So these are the virtual transactions which are taking place. And government also tossed up the concept of the virtual digital assets. So Abhishek will cover that, what is there in the virtual digital assets as such. So I mean, in that case, digital rupee is also going to come. There will be blockchain technology. We have been saying about last 2, 3, 4, 5 years that blockchain is going to be the future, this and that. Now that has actually come into reality. So AI or blockchain or whatever it is, those kind of technologies will be used for the digital rupee as such. So according to my understanding, it will not be like a cryptocurrency, but it will be more like a Paytm kind of a situation wherein I can actually use that digital rupee. I can earn the digital rupee and I can pay those digital rupees. So my focus or my intention of having physical money may reduce in future. So this digital money shall have a trail, because you all know this money, especially the hard cash, which we use in the day-to-day life, has lots of problems also. I mean, it goes into the hands of terrorists, it goes into the hands of other wrong people for extortion, this, that, so many things. Cryptocurrency or this kind of hard cash has been used. So a reduction in the crime is also possible if you use the digital money. You can always say that now I'm using digital money. So let that concept come, let that concept settle down. Then definitely we'll use in future as a digital money only. I will not be surprised that once the digital money comes, our institute will also come up saying that instead of paying by first few days, there will be discount to people, that if you pay by digital money, we will give you 10% discount or 5% discount in the fees, annual fees, etc. So that is definitely going to happen. Let government come up with this. What is their idea of digital money, which has a track? You can trace it back. You can use it for a specific purpose. And in future, they want to ensure that there will be more usage of digital money, whether it is digital rupee or digital dollar or whatever it is. If it is there, definitely they are going to use that. According to my understanding, China uses that on a very large scale as a digital money. So our government will also come up with that kind of a digital rupee in future. So with this small presentation, I would like to stop over here. I mean, rather than explaining you so many things, if I have made some kind of inquisity or maybe some kind of thirst has been created in your minds after this session, I will be more than happy, because ultimately budget or economy are not the subjects which has to be learned on one day. I mean, they are we should learn them on very continuous basis, right from the, if budget has ended on 1st of February, we should learn that up to 31st of January in future. So, I mean, my best wishes to all the CMA who are attending the session. Thankful to Trivandrum chapter, both to the secretary and chairman for inviting me for the session. Also thankful to my own council colleague Padmanabhan sir for considering me as a part of this. So thank you so much, and my best wishes to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the wonderful session, which gives us a lot of viewpoints regarding the Indian economy and the way forward. Thank you, sir. Thank you on behalf of all the participants as well as the Trivandrum chapter. Next, I would like to
Pranav bhai, good wishes to Ashish bhai for his function tomorrow.
Yes. Thank you so much. I have to leave. Sorry, Abhishek. I'll listen to your session later on the YouTube. Papan bhai will put it on the YouTube, no?
Yes,
sure, sir.
Yeah, sure. So I'll listen to your lecture later on, Abhishek bhai. As you know, I'm a little bit busy today. So thank you so much to all of you. Kindly allow me to leave. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you, Ashish bhai.
Thank you, sir.
Now let us invite Abhishek Bhai.
Thank you very much. Very warm good evening to one and all present here. Central Council member, CMA H. Padmanabhan sir, Central Council member, CMA Ashish Thatte sir, the chairman of Trivandrum chapter, CMA Pramod Chandran, Secretary Vishnu Nair, and of course also Pranav Nair, who has been, Pranav Jayan, who has been very instrumental in coordinating this program.
Yes.
Firstly, it is difficult to follow Ashish because he has given such a wonderful presentation. Economic matters are very difficult to understand, but he has made it in such a wonderful period so that it is much more understandable what is the net effect. He has been able to get the juice out of it. So it was a pleasure listening to him. And of course, I have to firstly, last but not least, Padmanabhan sir was always a smiling face, a very dynamic person and really inspirational. So he is the person, key person in coordinating this program, I must say, and always doing something for the benefit of the members. Very dynamic, very, you always see him wherever you go. You will see him. I don't know how with his busy schedule he is able to make time. So it is always a pleasure to share the dais with him. Thank you so much, Padmanabhan sir, for inviting me and giving me this opportunity. So without further ado, I would like to get into the analysis of the union budget. My dear friends, going to this budget, we had heavy expectations. Last 7 years, there's been no change in the tax slab rates. Inflation are quite high. The ground reality inflation, even though Ashish ji had covered at some point saying inflation was within 10%, but the ground reality, the same, sunflower oil or whatever, or gold winner oil that you are buying, the prices have gone up by almost 100%. Some of the other expenditure that you're incurring, all that also has gone up by more than 50 to 100%. Either the cost of the goods have gone up or the quantity of the products have come down. You can see the petrol prices, they are hitting century after century. So my dear friends, there was a lot of expectations, especially given that there was elections around the corner in some key states. In fact, we thought, okay, we will get some good or some reduced tax rates, all the benefits will come. But the expectations before the budget, unfortunately, have not been met after the budget. So the first major question, any changes in the tax slab rate? My dear friends, I must say absolutely no changes whatsoever. There is no change in the tax slab rate at all. In fact, they have said that the revenue secretary, who was interviewed shortly after the budget was presented, he has said that we are urging the taxpayers to change their mindset. They should not expect tax exemptions. They have to change their mindset. Whether it is easier for a single person to change the tax rates or whether they expect several crores of taxpayers to change their mindset about how tax exemption should be is something that only you and I can answer. But the fact remains, for almost 7 years now, more than 7 years now, the tax slab rates have remained unchanged, my dear friends. And let me make a point over here, because many people point to rebate under 87A, where up to 5 lakhs you get a rebate and tax is not payable. But then, my dear friends, 4,99,000 if I earn, my tax is 0. If I earn 2 rupees more, I earn 5,01,000, my dear friends. If I earn 5,01,000, then that is taxable almost 12,000, 13,000 rupees tax. So by earning 2 rupees extra, I'm having to pay 12,000 rupees tax. This itself is flawed. That is why the entire purpose of slab rate structure came, so that people are not taxed beyond the earning capacity. To earn 2 rupees, I have to pay 12,000 rupees. That seems to be very funny and completely wrong. And that should have been corrected, but it wasn't corrected, my dear friends. So the only change when it comes to tax rates is not the tax rate itself, but the surcharge. Now they have said, a person who earns more than 50 lakhs is applicable to surcharge. Similarly, 50 lakhs to 1 crore, one surcharge, 1 to 3 crores, 1%, 3 to 5 crores, 1%, more than 5 crores, 22.5% surcharge is there. So net, a person who earns more than 5 crores, he is paying net tax of almost 43 to 44%, my dear friends. 43 to 44%. If you add interest and all, it will go up even higher. So therefore, what the government have said now, any long-term capital gains on sale of equity shares, that capital gains will be capped at 15%. The surcharge on that income, the surcharge on that specific income will be capped at the rate of 15%, my dear friends. They will not tax it further. That is what they're trying to say. So if you are someone who's earning more than 5 crores, don't worry, your capital gains will be taxed with a surcharge at 15%. Other than that, for cooperative societies, they have said surcharge reduced from 12 to 7%. If your income is up to 10 crores, between 1 crore to 10 crores, it will be taxed at a surcharge of 7% instead of 12%. Other than this, no changes whatsoever, my dear friends, when it comes to your tax slab rates. The next, this is the big announcement actually when it comes to this budget, which is the introduction of a new type of return of income. My dear friends, our Honorable Finance Minister in the course of the budget said, I am introducing a new return this time where people who want to modify or update their old return, they can do the same by payment of a small fee, up to 2 years from the end of the relevant assessment year. Sounded excellent. Very, very wonderful move. We are very welcoming of it because as you can see on the screen, the old provision, what did it say? A revised return is allowed up to 9 months from the end of the financial year. That means for the current financial year 21-22, the last date of filing is 31st of December 2022. And your regular return, you would have filed 31st July. But if you want to file a revised return, you want to file a belated return, the last date is 31st of July 2022, my dear friends. Now, what they have said in assessee can under this new section 13980, the name is called updated return, like how you have revised return, belated return, all that. This is called updated return. So in this updated return, an assessee can now, whether he has filed a return of income originally, even if you have not filed, you can take the benefit of this section, and you can file or revise a return up to 2 years from the end of the relevant assessment year, and to quote the Honorable Finance Minister on the payment of a small fee. Of course, we all know after the last few budgets, we have all become smart. We know that the Finance Minister's speech is only 10% of the amendments. The 90% of it, you will only get the cream when you read the budget memorandum or you read the Finance Act. Similarly, for this provision, I was very happy when I read it. But then when I went into the Finance Act, certain points came up. Now let us take an example. You happen to be an IT professional, not income tax, information technology, either working in a BPO or Wipro or software company, something. So you decide to file the return of income yourself. So what you do, whatever credits are there, you are offering it to tax. So any interest, salary, everything you have offered to tax. Then what you do, you're taking the TDS as per the 26 years and you're filed the return of income. Next year, you realize you need the support of a finance professional. So you go to some person and then he tells you, sir, what are you doing? You have come to me after 12 months of last year. Since you filed the return of income last year, you have not claimed TDS last year. Then he says, sir, I want to change. He's offered the income, but he's not claimed the TDS. Why he has not claimed? The person who has deducted filed the TDS return little late. But this person rushed and filed the return of income. Now, can he file a revised return? He can, but the time is expired. Can he go for a rectification under 154? He can, but it is not an error apparent on record. Next, can he now go for a 264? He can, but he has to waive the rights of appeal, and there must be an order for you to go for revision under section 264. So therefore, this assessee, genuine assessee, does not have any recourse. He has offered the income. Now he wants to claim the TDS deducted against that. He cannot do it. There is no way for the assessee now to file a return of income in those scenarios. So I thought with this new provision, it's an opportunity for them to claim. But wait a minute. When you go into the Finance Act, you find that there are further restrictions, my dear friends. What have they said? Now, a new return of income can be filed, or rather the updated return of income under this section can be filed in all the following scenarios except this. If I'm claiming a reduced tax, increased refund, or excess loss, forget it, I cannot file under 139.8A. My dear friends, in this example that I've given you just now, that assessee cannot file a return of income under 139.8A. Why? Because I'm claiming extra refund. I'm reducing my tax payable. So therefore I cannot file. Similarly, next, a person who is searched or surveyed, then for that assessment year, he cannot file a return of income. Generally, such cases, you know, they reopen 7 years, rather 6 years they reopen plus current year, the year of the search. So it's 6 plus 1, 7 years are covered in search. So therefore, if you are subject to search, forget it, you cannot revise or you cannot update your return. If you are subject to survey, that year you cannot file. So that also gone. Next one, their return is already filed under this section. For that year, you cannot once again file. Why this is important? Because a revised return, when you are filing a revised return, you can file how many ever times you want. I want to file a revised return 2 times, I can do it. 100 times you can do it. 500 times, 1000 times also you can do it. They may send you a notice, but legally you are allowed to revise your return of income how many ever times you want, my dear friends. Now here, under this updated return, they have said very clearly, you can file it only once for each year. You can file an updated return only once for each year. So if I make a mistake when I'm filing, there is no provision to revise it. There is no provision for me to correct any errors. So if I'm filing this, I must carefully file it one shot. It should be finished. And the next person, where any assessment proceedings have been initiated against that assessee for that year, you cannot file 139.8A. This makes perfect sense because let us assume I'm an assessee. I don't disclose an income. I'm saying, oh, I have this income. I'll not disclose it. We will see what happens when the income tax get in touch. We will see. Then when you get a notice, suddenly you feel, oh, they found out. Better I will file updated return and then I will claim it as my income. So in those cases where any assessment proceedings have started, if you file an updated return, that means it is an afterthought. Only after you are getting a notice, you are filing this. So it is an afterthought. So in order to stop that, if any assessment proceedings have started, you cannot file an updated return under this provision. Now coming to the next major point. Our Honorable Finance Minister said, no, one small fee you have to pay. What is this small fee? If I am filing my return of income 12 months from the end of the relevant assessment year, then the small fee is 25% of the additional tax payable, including interest. 25% of the tax payable, including interest, surcharge, etc. My dear friends, that is the penalty if you are filing 12 months from the end of the relevant assessment year under this section. Next, if you are filing up to 24 months, after 12 months, but up to 24 months, then the penalty is 50% of the additional tax plus interest, surcharge, etc. So therefore, it is quite high. It is not a small fee. It is a pretty high fee. It's a significant fee that you have to incur if you want to file a return of income under this section. So that brings me to the very important question, my dear friends. Why this provision at all? This does not seem that beneficial. If I want to claim refund, I cannot claim. If I want to claim loss also, I cannot claim. But if I have to offer additional income, I have to pay 25% to 50% penalty. Other than the tax, I have to pay the tax also. Then additionally, I have to pay a penalty also, which is up to 50%. My dear friends, does not seem very attractive, no? So why have they brought this return of income at all? Because now the income tax have so much information about the assessees. So much information is there about the assessees, my dear friends, that if they want, they can start sending reopening notices. You are all aware, in November, the TIS and AIS was launched. Taxpayer Information Summary, Annual Information Statement, where now all the details, you have sold shares, what and all shares you have sold, through which authorities you have sold. Then if there's any interest income from which bank accounts, from which fixed deposit, to the extent where assessees who don't disclose the details, they avoid disclosing the details, they will also get caught. In fact, in some cases, one of my clients who had come to me, he said, sir, these are my bank statements. Then I asked him, sir, do you have an IOB account here with the account number? He said, no, I don't have. Are you sure? Can you check? Then he checks and he says, yes, I have an account. Almost 20 years back I opened, I didn't even realize it is active. So whether the assessee is aware or not, Our friends at the income tax department are well aware of it, my dear friends. So this return of income is an opportunity for you to comply. It's an opportunity for you to comply. It's an opportunity for you to surrender any incomes that you have missed surrendering without the income tax sending you a notice and asking them to do it. Because you all know undisclosed incomes under 68 to 69, all the provisions, it will be taxed at the rate of 60%, 115 BBE. It will be taxed at the rate of 60% plus surcharge, cess, etc. The effective rate will come almost to 68 to 70%, my dear friends. So this is an opportunity for you to comply. And let me answer a question, because I saw somebody raise this question to me. No, if I'm an assessee who has 2 lakhs income, 2 lakhs income, it's not beyond 2,50,000. It's not beyond the exemption limit. So tax payable nil. Can I also file a return under 139(8)(a)? Yes, I can also file a return of income under 139(8)(a). Now the next question, how much penalty I should pay? Because tax itself is zero. Do I have to pay a penalty on it? You don't have to pay any penalty. The same calculation, 25% of the additional tax payable. In your case, the additional tax payable is zero. 25% of zero is zero. That is all zero only you have to pay. So you don't have to pay any taxes to file the return of income under this if you have no taxable additional income, my dear friends. Next is the clarity on the virtual digital asset or cryptocurrency. Our Central Council member Ashish Tate mentioned this, where now they have introduced a tax rate at the rate of 30% on cryptocurrency transactions. Your Bitcoin, Ethereum, NFTs, all of these will be taxed at the rate of 30% now. Then what they have said, no benefit of expenses. I'm taking a loan to buy a Bitcoin. I'm incurring interest on that. You cannot take the benefit of the interest. I can only reduce the cost of acquisition. No other expense I can reduce from the sale value, my dear friends. Now further, you all know cryptocurrencies are very, very volatile. So I purchase at 100 rupees. Next day, the price becomes 5 rupees. So what do I say? I will sell it. So I decide to sell it. Huge loss I have, huge loss. Now what am I saying? It is okay, I have huge loss. I'll set it off against my other income. Please wait. No benefit of set off allowed under this transaction. If you have a loss, you cannot set it off against the other heads of income. Then I say, okay, no problem. Next year I will have profit. I will adjust it against that profit. No. No benefit of carry forward also. So no benefit of set off, no benefit of carry forward also if we have any cryptocurrency transactions, my dear friends. Highly draconian law. If profit is there, we will tax. If loss is there, you forget it. It's a dead loss. You cannot do anything with it. I do not agree with such provisions. It's highly unfair. And I think it's a draconian provision. It requires to be modified. Whether they will do it now or whether they will do it next year, I don't know. But 100% it needs to be modified. Of course, now you have TDS also at the rate of 1% if you're transacting over rupees 50,000, my dear friends, on cryptocurrency. Steps have been, I don't have that much time, so I will not be spending too long on certain provisions. There have been certain steps taken to reduce the litigation. If the same matter is pending before the jurisdictional high court or the Supreme Court, then you can now make an application to the commissioner asking them not to go on appeal. So department will not go on appeal. Normally, based on monetary criteria, additions more than 50 lakhs, compulsorily they'll go to ITAT. There, if it is more than 1 crore, they'll compulsorily go to the High Court, irrespective of merits of the case. It can be, however, strong case in your favor, but they will still mandatorily go on appeal against the same to the superior authority. That is how department goes on appeal. But if any matter is pending on that same issue, either before the High Court or the Supreme Court, then you can request them to stay all the appeals. They will not go on appeal till the disposal of that particular decision. Now, the next one is a very, very important amendment. I will tell you why. Now, when you are calculating your taxable profit, if there is any income tax paid by you, that should be reduced or rather added back to the profit. So your profit will increase because you cannot claim income tax paid as a deductible expenditure. Then the question came up, income tax, okay, But there is also educational cess and surcharge. So what did department say? Yes, surcharge also you cannot claim. What about educational cess? I'm paying 4% now, educational cess and health cess. That can I claim? Now, naturally, department said no, but there is a CBDT circular which says that cess can be claimed. So many assessees claimed the cess. For many years now, they have claimed this cess. And many tribunals, high courts have held in favor of the assessee. Yes, cess is an allowable expense. You have to allow it. Now, what is the government saying? Government is coming and saying, wait. Income tax you cannot claim, no. Similarly, you cannot claim surcharge, no. This may be called cess, but actually it is surcharge. Sir, why you called it cess? No, simply we called it cess, but actually it is surcharge only. So the education cess and health cess is called a cess, but actually it is surcharge in nature. So therefore, any surcharge that you have that you cannot claim. Okay, fine. Going forward, I will be careful. I will not claim it. No. Remember Vodafone, very bad flashbacks we are all getting. Like Vodafone, we are going to make it a retrospective amendment from 2005. So from 2005, they are making this provision applicable, my dear friends. So all the assessees who have claimed it and all the tribunals and courts which have allowed it, all of them now will get reopening notices saying it is incorrect. We are going to tax the same now. How do you and I plan taxes? Based on the position of law today. Today a law is there. Based on that law, I am claiming something or I am planning my taxes. 5 years later, 10 years later, 15 years later, you are coming and saying, no, you may have planned. But actually what we said no was something different. So you have to pay the tax. 15 years later, they are coming and saying it is applicable from 2000. Highly unfair, my friends. This is why retrospective amendments are considered to be highly unfair and draconian. And this is once again a draconian law which has come. I think it is going to go to the courts and you will see how the courts take it. But as it stands, you can expect multiple reopening notices coming on this particular matter. And when the CBDT chief was questioned about it, what did he say? Yes, but if we change this provision, lot of good tax benefit is there. We will get huge tax revenues. Is this the mindset that we need to be having? Because getting tax revenue is one thing. Facing tax difficulty practically is a completely different challenge. The professionals, the companies, the assessees who have to now defend the decision of their tax planning 7 years back because of a change today seems to be highly unfair, my dear friends. The next change is 14A. 14A is a law which said that if an assessee is earning exempt income, the income is exempt, but the expenses claimed with that people used to claim. So what they used to say, income is exempt, but expenses in connection with the same, I will claim it as an expense. So department came and said that is not correct. And fairly okay, I also agree with it. Exempt income is there, expenses in connection with that. You can't say income exempt, but expense alone I can claim. That is not fair. So 14A is a valid provision. But this is where the complexity comes in. Now department said, let us assume dividend is there. Till 2 years back, dividend was completely exempt from tax. So when you are having any dividend income, my dear friends, I am earning dividend income. I have my employees, they advise, so you invest in that share, you invest in this share. So, but they also do other work. Their job is not only to look after my investments. Now these employees, what is the department saying? You are earning exempt income. Are you incurring any expenses? No, directly. But you are. There is somebody who is taking care of the investment. There is somebody who is advising you to invest. So there is some cost, linked to earning that. So they determined a calculation under Rule 8D. So they said they gave one calculation. They said you have to do this calculation and disallow. It is slightly reaching, but okay, I will accept. Some logic is there, okay. Now what they are saying? They are saying no. Whether you earn exempt income or not, you have to still disallow under 14A. What? 14A itself is what it says. If you have exempt income, you have to disallow expenses. Now they are coming and saying, even if you have no exempt income, you have to disallow under 14A because maybe in the future you may earn exempt income. What is this logic? There seems to be very funny logic over here. What they are saying, Normally, if mother is there, only baby can be there. Now they're saying without mother itself, baby can be there. So highly unfair amendment. The reason being 14A is a discretionary provision. The courts, the assessing officer, the tribunal, everyone can look at each case and see whether it's genuine or not for the assessee, whether genuinely based on the facts and circumstances of the case, whether disallowance should be made under 14A. If no such disallowance is being made, they would have been satisfied saying it need not be done. Now what the government is saying, even if no exempt income is there, you have to disallow. If I put the next page, my dear friends, this is a extract from the memorandum. What is the logic? The finance ministry will explain the logic why they are making this amendment. If you see it, it is extremely complex. I'm not going to spend time reading this because I have read this over the last 6 days at least 10 or 12 times. Till now, I have not understood it. That complex it is. But what they are trying to say, you will incur an expense now. You will not have the income. But next year you will have the income. But last year you would have claimed the expense. So because of that, even if you have no income, we are going to make the addition and disallowance there. Now we are all financial professionals. We have all studied accounts. We have heard of matching principle. We have heard of debit, credit, etc. We have heard of timing difference. So many concepts we are familiar with. So if there you are accounting for an expense, naturally the income also you will account. Then only it will match. Similarly, if you're accounting income, you will match the expense. Even worst case scenario, let us assume I don't know any matching concept. Even if I don't know, next year I will get the exempt income. Whenever I'm getting it, you disallow. What is this saying? You may not get this year. You may get it. You may not get it. It may be accrued. It may be received. All complexities have been done in this provision. And now the problem is our friends at the department may take a more stronger view when they are empowered by such a provision. So now all the cases, they will go ahead and make this addition, my dear friends. So this is once again not a very, very great amendment. Faceless assessment, you are aware today faceless is a reality. You can appear for cases across the country and there is no geographical restrictions which has come through this. But one very interesting thing, and I took many sessions on the faceless assessment. I am part of the ministry constituted for the survey of the faceless assessment also. And one very, very good provision which we very were intent on enforcing was there was a subsection in faceless assessment saying, if the procedure laid down is not followed, that means the order is invalid. There have been n number of absurd orders under faceless assessment, many good orders, but even more bad orders which are there under faceless assessment. And for this, the courts have been our friends. Every high court, every Supreme Court, every case which has come, they have been very strong in saying you have to follow the law. The provision is clear. And this has been very helpful for assessees. Now what the government has done, they said that subsection which says every order which does not follow the procedure is invalid. They removed that subsection. Actually, they should be making it stronger, saying we will make it strong. We will ensure that it is all done properly. What they have said, that provision which is causing a hindrance, no, that they removed it so that when you go to high court also, you will not have easy recourse now. And then one good thing that they have done is they said virtual hearing will now be accommodated. So if you ask saying I want a personal hearing, they will at least give you a virtual hearing opportunity, either physically or virtually to be heard. Oh, they have expanded one definition for cinematographers. I am not going to go through that because we're running out of time. Unexplained cash credit. Now, this is a very, very good amendment or interesting amendment rather, I must say. You see, whenever you have, especially during demonetization time, when people ask where is the source, people usually say, I got share premium, I got share capital, somebody made share application. So what does government say? If you are saying share application, etc., then you have to explain source on source. It is not enough if I say I got it from him. I need to be able to justify where that fellow got the income to invest. So that it does not mean I am channeling. I give him the money, I say you invest. It's not so that I am not doing that. They have to explain the source on their source. I have a business, I am getting salary, from that income only I am investing. But this was restricted only to share capital, share premium, share application. It was not there for any other head of income, my dear friends. So what they have done now? Now they have said, if you are getting a loan, then also you have to explain source on source. Earlier, before today's amendment, or rather before this budget's amendment, it was enough if I established that person who was giving me a loan is a bona fide party. Mr. Padmanabhan gives me a loan. So what should I do? I have to give his PAN number. I have to give his address. I have to give his details. That's all. Then department have to verify whether he has the source or not, whether he is credit worthy. All that they have to establish. From me, I have to prove that he's a bona fide person who has given me the amount. That is all I have to prove. Now what they have said, you have to explain his source also. So now I have to be able to justify where that person who is giving me money, where he has earned the income from. Now, if it is Padmanabhan sir, it is okay. He is a gentleman. He is a very kind person. He will help. What if I have taken the loan from Kotak Mahindra Bank or some other bank? Now, if I call my bank saying there is a wrong transaction in my credit card, that itself, it takes me minimum 3 days. You contact this department, you write a mail, you print out this sign and you send it. All this work I have. So after 3 days only, I am getting some access to some person for my own credit card. Now, if I have to go and ask that bank, which I have taken a borrowing from, sir, where you got your source, please explain where is your income coming from, whether they will give these details. You forget established banks. What if you're taking from NBFCs, cooperative societies, cooperative banks? In all of these cases, it is impossible for you to get that information. So such a wide-ranging provision can cause some practical difficulties here because there is no incentive for that party to give and establish where he is getting the income from. If it is an individual, then he is a known person, he may do it. But if you leave it such a wide-ranging provision, my dear friends, it makes practical life a little bit more challenging. I'm not going into some of these. Donation to research under section 35. You know, under 35, there's a weighted deduction where up to 150% you could get a donation on deduction if you donate to certain specific funds, etc. They have slowly reduced the weightedness, but it remains at least 100%. So what they have said now, you see these approved institutions like IIT or any other research institution or research university, etc. All of them, they get a certificate from the government saying we are a certified institution under section 35. So based on this, we will donate to them and they will do research or other activities, whatever notified activities to help that we are making this donation and we will claim that as a deduction. So they have a responsibility. Not only now, they've always had the responsibility where they have to file a form with a list of the donors, how much amount they received, etc. This budget, what change they have made? They have said if that research institution does not file the form with the list of donors, then the donor, he cannot claim a deduction. But I am making the donation based on that certificate department have given. Department have said that they are approved entity. Based on that only I am making the donation. Now you are coming and telling me after I give a donation, if he does not file the form, then I cannot claim the donation. But sir, I don't have any control. I cannot go and sit next to him and say whether you have filed the form, please file the form. All that I cannot do. Whatever is in my control is verifying whether it's approved entity and I donate the money. Now you are coming and saying if that person does not file the form, then I cannot claim the credit. Highly unfair. Highly unfair. They are trying to make the process easier for the department so that they will match it. But then practically, it is not my fault. It is that institution's fault. You penalize them. Don't come and ask me. Don't say I cannot claim a deduction. So this is a highly unfair provision, impractical provision once again, which has been brought about by the department. Now, COVID expenses relief, this is a very good amendment. There was a lot of confusion. For a company, if the employee is suffering from COVID and the company decides to support him, I am the company, I decide to support my employee, then there was a confusion saying, can I claim it as an expense? Or if I claim it as an expense, then it has to be a benefit given to the employee. So he has to tax it as a perquisite. That fellow is suffering from COVID, he is battling for his life in the hospital. Then they are coming and saying whatever I'm paying for his expenses is a benefit to him, it's a perquisite, it is taxable. So now government has said that in these cases, if it is COVID related, it will be allowed as an expense and he does not have to show it as a perquisite in his books also. It is perfectly fine is what they have said. So no tax on the individual in these scenarios. Similarly, if the employee's relative is also suffering from COVID, even in that cases, whatever the employer has supported him, he can claim it as an expense. It will not be taxed as a gift in the individual's hands. But please note this. It is only direct COVID-19 related. I had COVID. After 7 months, I am having heart problem, I'm having lung problem. You're all aware. Post-COVID complications are very high. So if you are having a post-COVID impact and you are hospitalized because of that, it will not get the deduction. It has to be directly COVID-19 issue. Only then you will get the benefit. Similarly, cancer, any other complication issues that you have health problems, none of these you get the benefit. It is only for COVID-19 related, my dear friends. Other changes, as Ashish pointed out, startup exemption has been extended by a year. Manufacturing companies, the sunset date for 15% tax rate has been extended by 1 year. 194 IA, small changes there. Earlier, you had to deduct TDS at the rate of 1% on the sale consideration. If the value of the sale consideration exceeds 50 lakh, 1% on whatever sale consideration you have to deduct. Now they have said you have to deduct 1% on the stamp duty or sale consideration, whichever is higher. Whatever is there in 50C provision or 43CA provision, they have brought parity with that. So no longer can you make the payment before you go to the sub-registrar. You have to determine what is the sub-registrar value or stamp duty guideline value before you proceed to make the payment under TDS, my dear friends. And the next provision is the final and most interesting provision over here. Let us assume you are Amazon. You see, Amazon established in 1992. Before they made a profit, it took 9 years. Their first profit happened only in 2001, my dear friends. So almost 9 years of losses before they make the first profit. So what you do, your company, you have finally made a profit in the 10th year, you're celebrating. Yes, you're inviting all your friends, everyone come, we are celebrating. So your friends from the income tax department also come. You're subject to a search. So a raid happens. So when this raid happens, they are making huge additions. So you are very, very disappointed. Oh my God, what is this? So what you say? Okay, so many additions there. Anyway, 9 years losses I have. So I'll set off those losses against these additions you are saying. But please wait. Now they are said. In case of search and survey cases, losses cannot be claimed or set off against income where where additions are made, my dear friends. So in search and survey cases, benefit of the carry forward of genuine loss also cannot be done. Cannot be done. So you can forget it. All those genuine losses you had, it cannot be claimed as an expense or cannot be adjusted. Finally, 194R has come. It's a TDS provision where any payment is made at 20,000 or more. Even if it is not covered under 192, 194C, 194J, it will be covered under 194R. It is not meant to burden the person who is paying, but there are many people who are earning income, especially agents, marketing agents, etc., who are earning income, but they are not filing the return of income. And department does not have a way of tracking them. This is a provision meant for tracking them. It is meant for tracking them, and that is why they have got this provision, my friend. So other than this, finally, there is some changes in the charitable trusts. They are very, very detailed changes, extremely detailed, that requires a 3-hour session by itself. So I'm not going to spend too much time. I'll just tell you the essence of the changes. You see 12A, 12AB, these provisions were a little bit more relaxed, whereas 1023C was a stringent provision where you said up to 85% you have to accumulate. If you don't accumulate for a period of 5 years and you don't apply, then in the 5th year it will become taxable as income. So all of these conditions have been levied in 1023C. Now they have made those applicable for 12A and 12AB also. Other than that, they have said books of accounts need to be maintained, mandatory audit has to be done, and if I am passing unreasonable benefit to either the trustee or the specified person, then I have to levy a penalty at the rate of 200% on them. If I establish my wife is there, I'm a trustee, my wife is there, I say, okay, you pay my wife money. So actually it is me who's taking the money, I'm doing it through my wife, means 200% penalty will be levied in these sort of cases. So this is the brief of all the amendments which have come. Due to want of time, I have gone little fast, but this is overall all the changes. It's a decent budget. It has not given too many benefits to the middle class or the salaried person, but overall, I think they have gone for stability. Maybe next year you may see a benefit to taxpayers finally will come in the next budget, but as it stands, we remain at the budget as the old, not many significant changes. So thank you so much for inviting me and giving this opportunity. So over to the organizers.
Thank you, Abhishek sir, for the very much informative as well as the very energetic presentation. Throughout his presentation, that level of energy which he transformed to the the audience also. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Now I invite our chairman TCCA, Pramod sir, to deliver his closing remarks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, dear Pranav. My dear friends, we had a very good informative session, I think. And first, Ashish Thatter sir has given elaborately about the budget and its formation, etc. Even good examples of how the money is being came as that example of that sponge flowing more to the bottom side. Like that way, he has given a very wonderful elaborated information on the budget preparation and other aspects of it. And second speaker, Sri Abhishek Murali sir, given us very good exposure to the practical implications of the budget, income tax side, etc. Very informative session indeed for all the members and participants. My duty is to say what of thanks to the members of this panel discussion. First of all, I express our sincere thank on behalf of our Trivandrum chapter and all the members and students, our CMA Sri H. Padmanabhan sir, who is a member of our Trivandrum chapter and also is a guiding force behind all our activities. Amidst all his busy schedule, he is devoting his lot of time to for the Trivandrum chapter. I thank our Padmanabhan sir from the bottom of my heart, our sincere gratitude and thanks for guiding us through all our activities. Thank you, sir. Now I express my thanks to Sri Abhishek Murali sir. He's a doctor, he's a CMA, he's very well qualified. His father is our Central Council member and he's the president of All India Taxpayers Association, highly acclaimed person. And also Ashish Thatter sir said that he has blessed with a newborn recently. God bless you, sir, in all your life and your family. I thank Sri Abhishek Murali sir on behalf of all members of Trivandrum chapter and on my personal behalf. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
For spending time with us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Now I have to thank our Ashish Thatter sir. He's a doctor and he's a very senior practicing member and Central Council member. He has joined us amidst his family engagements and he has given us a wonderful session on his this budget. I thank you, Ashish Thatter sir, in his absence, and expressing our sincere thanks to Ashish Thatter sir. Thank you, sir, for being with us in this evening. Now I have to thank our young and energetic Pranav Jain, our treasurer. Is a very actively engaged in our chapter activities and is a driving force behind me also for all the activities. I thank Pranav Jain for arranging this session and thank you, Pranav. Now I have to thank all the participants who have attended this session. I thank all of you for spending this 2 hours with us and listening to the speakers. Thank you, each and every member and students. Now I have to thank the behind the curtain workers, just like our Jaya Madam and other office staff who has been working behind the curtain for making this meeting a successful one. Once again I thank all participants and other friends for being with us in this wonderful evening. Thank you once again. Thank you. Then Pranav, we can